Welcome to Form Machines. This is part 3 of our 4-part incident tutorial. The demo form link is in the description. In this video, we will add an approval to our form. Suppose each submission first requires a manager's approval, then the director's approval. See the approval flowchart and the form status advances from one status to the next. First, let's create a form variable that keeps track of the form status and default the status to draft. Next, let's create a manager's approval section. Let's hide this section if the status is draft, so we won't see this section on the initial submission. Next, let's do the same for the director's approval section. Let's hide this section if the status is draft or the manager approval hasn't been processed. Now let's add some action buttons. Remember, the default status is draft, so when we do our initial submission, we want to send our form to the manager for approval. This is achieved by adding a rule to the initial submit button. Let's preview the form and make a submission. Note, initially I don't want to see any approval sections. Now let's open up the submission in Form Machines. Note that it's now submitted and we are seeing the manager's approval section. This is because the initial submit button set the approval status just before the submit. Now we're going to modify the manager's approval section. We'll add an approve button. This button will set the form status to director approval and resubmit the form. Next, let's do the same for the director approval section. Add an Approve button. This button will set the approval status to Approved and resubmit the form. We'll also add rejection buttons. These buttons will set the approval status to Rejected and resubmit. Let's do a new submission and see what else needs to be changed. First issue is that I want to hide the initial submit button after the initial submission. Basically, I only want to see this button if the status is draft. Second issue is that for the approval sections, I only want to enable the whole section if the approval is in that stage. For example, I only want the manager's approval section to be enabled if the form is in that status. Let's do another submission. As you can see, the above two issues have been fixed. Next, we'll add some labels that show the current status of the form. We will use a rule to dynamically generate the label text. I will also display this label as a coloured pill and use rules to show dynamic colour. Let's make another submission. I will now add an approval comment field and make it mandatory. Lastly, I want to add a manager field, so the form knows where to route the manager approval to. This is an open hosted form, so we will simply use an email field. Consider using Azure User Selector for team or tenant hosted forms. In this video, we added the approval process. In the next video, we will add notifications. For more information, please visit 4machines.com.